What up, y'all? It's Crew, also known as Araneae Storm, checking in for the Chiron series. I am your Cosmic Rootwork astrologist specializing in Mars activations as well as North Node and South Node consultations. So if you would like to book a personal reading with me, you can hit me up at araneastorm.wix.com/info, and you can find all my information at Araneae Storm. All social media, hit me up. Now, I really cannot see the view because it's real bright out here right now. Not for real, but for real. Like, there's a cloud, and so I really can't see. So I hope that, I'm sure y'all can see me, but I can't really see the camera for real. Like, I set it up, I can see like a shadow of me, but I can't see me for real. But that doesn't matter because that's not why we're here. It has been a minute since I've been making videos. It's been about a month since I've made videos, so I want to welcome myself back. I want to welcome y'all back. For those of y'all that have been following along and been sitting back like, wow, like, damn, she really left us hanging. Like, damn. Yo, I had things, I was making moves, doing things and things, moving, shaking, all that. So, not to say that I wasn't able to make those videos. I just needed, some time to kind of kick it and be. So, here we are. We're back. I decided to move forward with the Chiron series because I felt like that's definitely something that we should talk about before we move on to the birth chart, because I do think, even though Chiron was discovered in 1977, I do believe that it definitely plays a role, a pivotal role in our birth chart. I like to think of Chiron, and we talk about Chiron to be this what we call the wounded healer, but even deeper than that is the ability to be able to alchemize the pain, the trauma, things that you have been through since childhood, and not even since childhood, I think for even previous past lives, and be able to alchemize that energy in order to heal yourself, and also in turn heal others too. So it reminds me, and I've been saying this on all the videos, it really does remind me of like the Kundalini energy. I think only with the Kundalini energy you experience that as you age. I don't know of any children that have experienced any Kundalini. They might, but I've never heard of it. But I do think of it like this being able to activate the Kundalini energy in order to heal yourself, to align yourself. So I kind of, when I was reading about Chiron, I was like, oh, this kind of reminds me of the Kundalini. It's just this essential, I guess, talk of having this wound, this center wound that you can heal, right? So yeah, there's a little bit about Chiron. Spiritual growth. This is some of the places where you have, or the placements depending on the house, the sign, the aspects that's going into this Chiron. It definitely will show you where you are up for spiritual growth the most, in your life. And this energy is can be very heavy also as well. So this is where you want to look to your birth chart to see where your Chiron is at and how that plays out within your own birth chart as well. So we are going to be moving into Chiron and Gemini. Like I said, in the Aries one, I don't want to keep these too long. I am going to make like an update video now that I could go live off my phone. So I'm probably going to be going live for the Cancer. No, I really can't see shit for real. For the Cancer new moon, probably this Saturday. So yeah, let's get right into it. So the Gemini, this went on from so the first one was 1933 through 1934, and then we have 1983 through 1984. And it's interesting because it seemed like back in the day, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it seemed like back in the day the Chirons lasted a little bit longer, or they lasted for a little bit shorter period of time. But now the Chirons that we're experiencing now, like Chiron Aries, is 2018 to 2027. So it seems like they're lasting for a little bit longer of a time versus than what they did back in the day. All right, let me make sure this is still recording. Okay, we still recording, y'all. So Chiron and Gemini, the next transit that we'll be having is 2033. So hey, we'll be personally, some of us will be personally experiencing this, if we do make it to that time. But basically, when we talk about the energy of Gemini, we talk about communication, media, things that have to do with our environment, right? And so when Chiron goes into Gemini, this can actually come up as a lack of communication, not knowing how to communicate with yourself, not knowing how to communicate with others. Oftentimes, because we have this energy of Gemini that can be very chaotic, it can feel like mental angst, because you might be feeling one way about something, but then you also might be feeling another way about something. So then you become confused. You don't know which way is up, which way is down. Like, this could definitely be that kind of energy. I might be going inside because it's hot as fuck out here, y'all. It's hot as fuck. I'm coming inside. All right, y'all. Now we back. It was hot as shit, like I said before, outside. So I had to take it. Okay, arms looking kind of nice. Not gonna lie to y'all. Ooh. Ah. Okay, Chiron and Gemini. Let's get to it. Back to it. So basically, I think before I cut off, I was talking about learning to communicate. Gemini learning how to communicate with Chiron here in this placement. Basically, there is a vast amount of intelligence that lies within Gemini, because Gemini is what? Yes, the messenger. So with Chiron here, this could be a person that really believes that they don't have the intellect, IQ, intelligence in order to speak on how they feel. Because Chiron and Taurus is before, which is the throat chakra. You know, Gemini is where you learn how to actually articulate and communicate words. And it doesn't necessarily have to be words. It could be through body language. It could be through your hands, you feel me? Because Gemini rules the hands and things. Creativity also, where Gemini lies as well, like doing things and being able to create things from the mind. But this is definitely where Chiron and Gemini person, especially want to see what house, so you can see exactly where it's playing out. But they can feel annoyed because they have so much of this knowledge, but I think it's more so having the confidence to be able to like speak on those things and being able to communicate those things to people. So oftentimes the lower vibrational energy of this Chiron, or just Gemini in general, could be through gossiping, talking about things that ain't really relevant. Like it just, because it doesn't have like that, so it doesn't have that foundation. So I think one of the ways to really heal this Chiron is for Gemini to do whatever necessary research, going through, you know, bouts of things where Gemini receives that experience or gets that experience, so it can talk about those things, so it doesn't feel so self-conscious about how people feel or think and things like that. So that's definitely Gemini, or Chiron and Gemini energy. Also too, Gemini, Chiron and Gemini could definitely be socially awkward in situations where most people would feel real comfortable. You know, there might be like a sort of an awkwardness, especially if Gemini gets around other people. And let's say, for example, who is this? It was somebody I was watching. Okay, so I've been looking into a lot of like financial literacy and things like that. And there was this lady on there who was talking about investments. And she said one time, she said she went to a predominantly white school or something like that. And I'm not bringing up, you know, skin color, because I, feel like us as Black people don't have the intelligence. I just think what she was basically saying was like, they don't teach us this in public schools. Like, they don't teach us, unless, you go to a school that might have a club or something, which most schools don't, that will teach you like business application, or it's considered as an elective or something like that. So it's not something that we learn. So by her going to this school, long story short, she basically says that she was in this group and they were doing this project and they got to talking about like investments in the stock market. And she said automatically at first she felt a little bit insecure to speak, because she didn't know what they were talking about. But she said as they began to talk, she said she just sat back and just kind of took notes. So when she would go to the library and go research the information, and then she would come back to this group, she'd feel more confident in actually talking about, or just kind of having that banter one-on-one with people, because she just didn't know, she didn't know, you know what I mean? So that could be an example of, Chiron and Gemini basically being able to take the natural intelligence that it does have. It's easy. One thing that I could say for Gemini energy, it's easy for Gemini to pick up on things. So I want to say regurgitate, but this is more so like Gemini is quick to learn. It's easy for Gemini to pick up on a lot of information at one time. You know what I mean? Gemini can like read over an article and take bits and pieces of the information and be like, okay, cool. So I know this. These are facts. This is a Mercurial. This, and this. I could take that. Then Gemini will take that information and make it easy for somebody who has no knowledge. And it's not like Sagittarius, where Sagittarius can go into like the philosophy, and Sagittarius will go into like the theology and the history. No, Gemini's like, I'm gonna take these little bits and pieces and parts. I can lay it out for you, and then I can explain it to you in a way that you can understand, so you could at least grasp what it is that I'm saying. So that's Chiron and Gemini. You have the power to alchemize your Chiron in order to be able to do that. So these are where you find teachers. This is where you find musicians, producers, anything, film, because we talk about Pisces for media, but you can also talk about Gemini too when it comes to media. So these are like film directors, you know what I mean? Anything that has to do with basically being able to take something in the mind and then create it. I know, like I said, it definitely is Piscean energy too, but this is definitely Gemini energy, being able to take downloads of information and being able to process that information and then spew the information. All right. So, yeah, this is also a Chiron too, where we are talking about Gemini learning to speak, which sits on the opposite side of Gemini. Sagittarius is learning to speak your truth, even if you don't have all the answers, even if you don't feel like you have all the necessary information. Chiron and Gemini here, it don't matter. You feel me? Like, that's the way you learn. You learn through doing, you learn through experiencing, you learn through exploring. You might, and also too, keeping in mind that you might not always have the right answer. But once again, that's how you learn. You're not going to get it right the first time, So it's basically being confident to really stand in your own truth. Being able to discern, because a lot of times Gemini can get mixed up in other people's thoughts, ideas, projections, going with, how people kind of think and how people do. And Gemini can get caught up in that energy. So it's about understanding, because Gemini is also about perspectives. So it's being able to understand multiple people's different perspectives, but also being able to come to your own. And you would be like, okay, well, this is my truth. It's very much so unfiltered when Chiron is here, or when you are healing this. Chiron is very unfiltered, and you just say what it is that you need to say, This is also embracing your innate intelligence as well as a Chiron and Gemini, or just with this Geminian energy. Like I said in the beginning, Gemini is naturally intelligent. There is no like, like trying to, no, you come into this world as a curious being. Your mind's already been like kind of keyed in. It kind of reminds me, Gemini energy, because we talk about it as a twin, but it also reminds me as like the young, because Aries and Gemini are like the youngins in the group. So it reminds me of like the kid that's like, going up to the stove after mama done told you 17 times, like, baby, don't touch it. It's hot. It's hot, baby. You're going to keep touching it. It's hot. And you touch it, and then you like, well, she told me it was hot, but I still want to know anyway. Like, she told me that I was going to burn myself, but I still want to know. So it's that, not, if it's kids watching this, babies, whatever, don't go touch the stove if your mama told you not to touch the stove, right? Don't do it, all right? Don't do it, all right? Just going on, move about your business, all right? But what I am saying is like Gemini learns through those experiences and be like, okay, so I touched it. Now I know. She told me, but I touched it. It's hot. So, we're good. So, basically that is definitely something that Gemini goes through. The ability to see both sides, like I said, but also still having discernment in a situation. Stop worrying about the opinions of others. Once again, if we go back to like having that level of discernment within your own personal perception, Sometimes Gemini can be flooded with, like I said, other people's opinions. I feel like we all can, but specifically Gemini, because Gemini is a messenger. So you can have a lot of downloads, or you can have a lot of people telling you, like I said, what's what, and you not necessarily coming to your own personal decision and being like, okay, so this is my truth, this is what I feel, this is what I believe, and standing firm in that, because we are talking about mutable air here. So it's easy to quickly change and maneuver and go this way instead of going that way. That's just Geminian energy. But I think it's knowing your own personal truth, knowing your own personal values, knowing your own morals, your own personal foundation. So when other people try to come, and even if they're not consciously projecting their own stuff onto you, you still have a sense of self that's like, okay, I see what this person is saying, but this is where I'm at with that. You feel me? Also too, one thing I'll say before I go is mediumship, psychic development. Once again, like I said in the beginning, and I continue to say, Gemini is the messenger god. Okay, it's the messenger god. If we look into ancient texts, which I will be talking about, I know I've been telling y'all about, we will be talking about it. Mercury was deemed as that bitch. Okay, it was the one. Before we got into sun signs, your Mercury was the most important thing in astrology. It was the key to the messengers. It was the key to the Akashic records. It was your soul. It was your spirit, right? So when you have Mercury here, Mercury's also, if we want to talk about mutual, Mercury is mutual out of all the planets. You know, Mercury is neutral. I said mutual. It's neutral. You know what I mean? So it's not over here. It's not, but it's just neutral. It's like the middle ground. All right. So being able to, key into like arts, music, culture, when you have all that mental energy, being able to channel that mental energy into something, but also knowing that you are able to communicate, as we all, but for you, this is something that comes firsthand. It's healing that wound, so you'll be able to better, develop that relationship with your ancestors, with your spiritual team. This is also being able to, if we really want to go there, being able, like Scorpio, to be able to communicate with the dead. So, developing those clairvoyant, clairaudient, all the clairs that you possibly can clair. You are able to do that. You are able to divinate and things like that. It's a possibility if that's something that you're interested in or something that you've been into. I would not be surprised if a Chiron and Gemini, especially at a young age, really had those abilities, or those abilities were heightened in a Chiron and Gemini, but they kind of shut out as they went on, especially if you have Chiron in the 12th house. That's a whole nother story. So I'm going to keep it at that. We're going to move on to Chiron and Cancer. We'll be finishing out this week with Chiron and Cancer, and then we'll continue the Chiron series next week. So you already know what it is. It's a rainy storm checking in, checking out without a motherfucking doubt. I'm out.